Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Thriving Africa Family Summit. And today we are looking at a very interesting topic on spirituality and the power of character strengths in families. And we know that across many homes, the young people are asking real questions about faith, and parents are looking for ways to nurture meaning, to nurture belonging. And there's also that question of spirituality. What does it even mean? And to help us think through this with a lot of clarity, there's no better person to do this than Reverend Dr. Selvam. I call him Prof, who has been my mentor in positive psychology for many, many years now. Welcome. And he's also the founder of Positive Psychology Association of Kenya. So welcome, Prof.
Dr. Carol, thank you. It's a nice opportunity to have a conversation with you around the topic of spirituality, character strengths, and thriving families in Africa. Yeah, it's a privilege.
Thank you. So let's just dig in. There's this whole conversation about spirituality, religion. What is spirituality? Let's just start there.
Okay, let me just say something about my background so that you can also interpret my replies from that perspective. All right, so I'm a Catholic priest. And then around the year 2006, I was having my own spiritual experiences, I can say, within the Catholic Church context. And then I was running youth retreats, spiritual retreats, silent retreats, teaching them Christian meditation techniques. And then I started getting feedback from young people that this helps them, especially in dealing with addictive behavior. So then I started asking myself, okay, this was early 2000. And in the 1990s, I had been involved in training young people in life skills for HIV prevention. You remember those days, yeah.
Right.
And then, like I had an experience even as a young Catholic priest, being at the funeral of my own youth leader in the church where I was serving. And those experiences shocked me. And I say, now I'm a priest, I'm preaching. There is this guy who is a youth leader, apparently has died of HIV, and I am burying him. So that sort of hit me. And I said, do life skills really bring about change? Then, in contrast to that, when I started doing spiritual retreats based on not talking, but sort of sitting down, doing Christian meditation, what psychology today calls mindfulness. And then I see feedback from young people that it is transformative. Then I wanted to study this scientifically. Maybe you've never heard this history before.
I haven't. This is very interesting.
Yes. So then, I belong to a sort of a semi-monastic life group within the Catholic Church. So they were proposing to me to go for further studies and to do a PhD. So I said, I'm going to study this phenomenon scientifically.
Okay.
How religion and religious experience or spirituality, how does it transform people? So I was looking around for universities and programs and theoretical frameworks and I was very clear. It was in 2007. My research question was very clear. I want to study the impact of contemplative practices, meditation, mindfulness on behavioral change. So I found at the University of London a college which offers a master's degree in psychology of religion. I did a background check on that program. It was scientific, not simply just blah, 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 like preaching type. It was more based on psychology than religion. It was looking at religion from the perspective of psychology. So it appealed to me with a scientific mind. So I went to do a master's degree. I did some bridging courses, undergraduate courses in psychology, and then I got admitted to a PhD. So my research was sort of bringing together two areas of psychology of religion and positive psychology. So positive psychology was providing like the theoretical framework for me, particularly the area of character strengths. Okay. So having said that, one of the things that I had to do right at the beginning of my work as a PhD scholar was to study religion from a scientific perspective. I had to distance myself as somebody at the core, at the heart of a religion and a particular religious tradition as a Catholic Church, and see what is happening here. What is it? Then more and more scholarship today, as you know, makes a distinction between religion and spirituality.
Yeah.
So I think that can provide a starting point for our conversation. So I have published a paper also on that. So let's define religion first. For me, religion revolves around 4 C's: creed, code, cult, and community. So what is creed? Creed is a set of beliefs that every religion has, or every religious tradition. If you belong to this religion, you need to believe in this set of creed. It is not about the I believe as such, but every religion has a set of beliefs. Creed. Every religion has a set of practices in terms of moral practices, ethical practices that you are right if you do this. Okay, so code, that's code. Sometimes it goes beyond ethical principles to what in ethics they call casuistry, little rules. You know, if you're a Catholic, you need to give tithes, or if you're a Christian, you need to give tithes. Now that's a practice. Okay. And of course, religion will justify that. You will go to heaven, you know, or it is your duty, like the Muslims have their 5 practices, you know. So fasting during Ramadan, the Hajj, you know, so all those practices. Buddhism has eightfold path. So those are code. Then there are a set of rituals. That is, I call it cult because of the C's, you know. Cult does not mean, it has a negative impact, but cult originally means set of rituals.
Okay.
So every religion has certain practices of worship. So in Christianity, for example, most traditions of Christianity have baptism as an opening, as a starting point. Or some churches have what they call altar calls. Now that's a ritual. Yeah, so cult. Then there is a 4th C, community. You are in, I am in, you're out. You know, from social psychology, we can understand that as in-group, out-group. Yeah. In fact, church comes from the Latin word ecclesia. Ecclesia means community. Yeah. So creed, code, cult, and community. Now, the danger of religion is they become fossilized. The 4 C's become fossilized, meaning this is it. And sometimes if somebody is being prophetic or charismatic in terms of a sort of an organic interpretation of these 4 C's, they run the risk of being thrown out. And then they form their own churches or their own religion, you see. So that's a history of religion, you know, from a sociological perspective. Yeah. And these 4 C's influence people's thinking, feeling, and behavior. Now, when we look at these 3 sort of influences of the 4 C's, we are talking about psychology of religion.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now, let's come to spirituality. Because of its fossilized, very static nature of religion, by nature, by definition, people who want to be more creative, people who want to enjoy certain freedom, people who don't want to be, who see these 4 C's as sort of a brainwashing mechanism, want to function outside. At the same time, they want to seek something beyond. To me, that is spirituality.
Okay.
So, what is spirituality then? Spirituality is seeking meaning, purpose, significance through sort of a relating to a transcendental being, what some religions call God. Okay? The transcendental being could be for some people nature, for some people energy. It's something beyond my body, you know. So then they might practice mindfulness practices, meditation techniques, or whatever way they call, but often they are non-religious, even if they originated in religion. For example, mindfulness originated in a Buddhist context, and today it has been secularized. Now, when they have sought meaning and they have this sort of a spiritual practice, then there is also compassion that flows out of it. So spiritual persons can be very compassionate, but they don't want to belong to a structured religion, an institutionalized religion. Now, my own perspective of this and where I find myself is I want to belong to a religion and I want to seek meaning. I want to constantly think about my purpose in terms of why am I here? And what is it all about? Significance. And then how compassionate can I be? But I'm still within my religion. So, and then I also practice contemplation. So, I argue for the possibility of religious spirituality.
Religious spirituality.
Okay, because there can be religion extreme sort of in the spectrum, just practices, don't think of the meaning. You do this and you go to heaven. But I, for one, would like to see this as an organic thing. I make meaning out of it every day. And if I read the Bible, it is not that it is very static written word, but I can interpret it in my context in Nairobi. Today, as we are concluding the first quarter of the 21st century. So I look at it in a very dynamic way. So I say that it is possible to be religious and spiritual. Yeah.
I think this is the first time I'm hearing it broken down with such simplicity, because there's such a war between religion and spirituality, and you've broken it down in a way that is so integrated. And I think for me, my next question then would be, because the many young people today are questioning their faith. They are turning away from organized religion, what the four C's, so to speak. For me, I'm in that space, and I talk to a lot of young people, and they have their own reasons why. But what do you, first of all, have you encountered that? And if you have, what do you think is driving this?
Yeah. Let me start with 2, 3 things that I'm personally engaged in. One is I published a paper on increasing secularism among young adults in Nairobi.
Yeah.
What we did was we interviewed 40. The entry point or the inclusion criteria was that they were baptized in a church of a Christian tradition, and now they openly declare that they are not Christians anymore. So how did we have access to these people? We started recruiting them through the Atheist Society of Kenya.
Okay.
Then by snowball reference, we get more people. So we spoke to 40 people, young adults aged between 18 and 35, across Christian traditions, once they were baptized across Christian traditions. And so one of the categories, we had 4 categories of people at the end: people who have drifted out, people who are rebellious, people who are seeking freedom. Yeah, and drifters are people who, like, they didn't have a Christian base, they were baptized, so they drift off. Rebels are people who are had a negative experience of these forces, and then they abandon the whole stuff. Freedom seekers, they see these forces as oppressive because of also sometimes a parental imposition of these forces. They say, we have always been Catholic, in our family. We have always gone to this church. Then there are meaning seekers. Now, meaning seekers are more often more spiritually oriented, meaning that they are not abandoning the whole lot. They don't like this institutionalized religion, but still they want to explore meaning of something beyond. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my first sort of a background to Kenyan context. Yeah. Of really having this long, almost an hour conversation with 40 people. And it's really challenging, even for me as a scholar, as well as a priest, So you see the negative aspects of structured religion and the dark side, the ugly side of structured religion. The second experience that I like to bring in here into our conversation is there was a time I was preaching in the church, and after the function, one mama came to me and said, Father, you preached so well, and you need to talk to my son. My son refuses to go to church. Okay, so I told her, I gave her my contact and said, pass this on to your son. Please don't force him to come to talk to me. When he is ready, let him come to me. So this was on a Saturday. Fair enough, on Monday, I get a phone call from this guy. And he says, I got your contact from my mom. When can we meet? So I gave him an appointment on Wednesday. Uh, and then Wednesday, he turns up in my office. He greets me. He hardly sits down. And he says this sentence to me. I know my mom spoke to you about me. My mom is annoyed because I don't go to church. But I would like you to tell my mom that I'm not spiritually starved.
Oh, wow.
So it's interesting how nuanced the guy is,
Yeah.
who is like hardly 20. Yeah. So he's very nuanced. He's saying, look, I don't go to church, but I keep myself spiritually alive. And my mom doesn't understand that. So I had a conversation and I told him, I asked him, so how do you keep yourself spiritually fed? And he says, I've learned some Buddhist meditation from the Buddhist temple in Roresho in Nairobi, and I practice every day, at least 30 minutes a day. And I feel charged. I feel spiritually connected. So more and more, Nairobi, at least urban African society, is moving towards that. I think is going to be even more. Yes, the churches are full right now, but most of these people are a large number of at least in my church goers are people who are born in the rural areas and have migrated as young people or as adults to the city. There are very few who are born in Nairobi of my generation and our generation, let us say, the parents' generation. But their children are people who are born and brought up here. They go to international schools. They have very sophisticated education. And then there is exposure to the internet, social media. So you see, Christianity, in my opinion, let me speak for Christianity and even the Catholic tradition. I think we are struggling with that transition from rural to an urban way of thinking, mindset. If you take our theology and the images that we use, biblical images are very much rural. Let's take Jesus as a good shepherd, God as a sower. You see the pastoralist images, agrarian images. Now, research is showing that a child born and brought up in Chicago has no idea where this milk is coming from. They see this white thing on the table. There are children who think oranges just pop out of like a tennis ball out of a machine. Now, to a child like that, so I remember there was once when I was in London, I was giving a reflection to a group of Catholics, and I said, in London, the modern fruits are blackberry, apple. So, the phones we are talking about.
Oh.
So,
Those are the modern fruits.
Orange, Orange is a company, telephone company. So Orange, BlackBerry used to be one of those first smartphones.
Right.
That's what kids know. What do they know about the SOA? Now, also, if you look at morality, Christian morality is basically rural morality, African morality, where African morality is very much rural. It is based on social control. But in the urban context, you need to talk about individual responsibility, and that's where character comes in. You see, so I hope I'm not drifting off the conversation.
Please just keep going. I think it's flowing the way
But the point is, the point here is, we as adults, parents, we get alarmed that our children are going to church. So what is wrong with this generation? It is not a problem of this younger generation. Our children did not fall from the skies.
We raised
They are
them.
products of our own generation.
Yeah.
They are products of the parents.
Mm-hmm.
So parents who did not make an effort to make sense out of their religion will pass it out as a fossilized, as a very static stuff. But young people want to make meaning out of it.
They do.
They see faith as organic. So it is not that they don't have faith.
Mm-hmm.
It is when the moment actually a young person questions their faith, they are trying to make meaning out of it, right? But we do not have the patience, and we do not have the discourse, the language
Exactly.
to communicate to them that what I believe in a way that they can relate to.
My goodness. I think that is so real. I mean, I'm saying that because my son is 16.
Yeah,
You know, when you said that parents have not made sense of religion, because the only way you can be able to pass it on organically, as you say,
yeah,
in a way that makes meaning and sense to them, is
yeah,
when we have internalized it ourselves and we have made sense of it. And
yeah,
I will admit that there are questions my son asks me about faith
yeah.
that throw me back. You know, they take me
Mm,
aback because I do not have the answers. And
mm,
I've sometimes felt pushed in a corner to just say, you know,
yeah.
the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit exists like the three forms of water, ice, and gas. And he looks at me and he tells me, that doesn't make sense. So I mean, you're really speaking to the right person here. And I know you're speaking to a lot of parents out there. I think
Yeah,
the point here is, have we made sense of our own faith? Uh,
exactly.
yeah.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So what is our own faith journey?
Mm.
If if I look at my religion as a magic thing,
Mm.
I can't pass that on
Not
because
to this
that magic,
generation. Yeah.
yeah, exactly,
Mm.
that magic doesn't work for someone who is rational.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I in the church where I serve on Sundays,
Mm.
we have three different services apart from the Sunday school.
Mm.
We have the adult service, at the same time we have a teen service, and we have children's service.
Yeah.
Now I can say, even for me, the most difficult group is the teens group. But okay, there is certain awkwardness about that age,
Mm.
so they don't speak up as kids do, So those are now the elements. So we need to energize them. And
Mm-hmm.
now the other day, I was talking to them about evolution in my preaching.
Mm-hmm.
Then they were looking at me like, most of them are going through the IGCSE curriculum.
Yes.
I would say even about 60% of my audience that day
Mm.
were in international curriculum. So they were looking at me like, then I said, am I explaining things wrongly? Then one young lady, she is actually 19. She puts up her hand. I know her personally, so she took the courage to tell me, Father, I didn't know that you know about evolution. So I said, interesting.
Yeah.
So you always, I mean, expect a priest to preach creation, right? So I told her, you know what I believe?
Mm-hmm.
I believe in creative evolution. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then one kid says, what is it? So it gave me a forum to explain to them that evolution by itself
Mm-hmm.
cannot explain everything. Because even if you believe in the Big Bang, if you accept, not believe, but if you accept Big Bang,
Mm-hmm.
and interestingly, Big Bang was proposed by a Catholic monk like me, you know.
Okay.
And so I told them that, yeah, George Lametta was a priest like me, a Catholic priest in Belgium. He's the one who proposed the Big Bang. So I don't see that as a contradiction to my faith.
Mm-hmm.
But what originated that Big Bang? And that origin is what I call God.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So then, okay. So now I'm just giving you an example
Right.
of something very scientific.
Mm-hmm.
But within religion, we need to make sense out of it. So if, as a pastor, I'm still preaching creation in 7 days,
Mm-hmm.
then how does this child who is educated in the British curriculum,
Mm-hmm.
which is very, very empirical,
Mm-hmm.
relate to this?
True. And in the school system interacts
Yeah.
with all kinds of people from all
Yeah.
walks of life and religion,
Yeah.
religious
Yeah.
backgrounds as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So what they would do is either they
Mm.
will live with this dualistic mindset,
Yeah.
or they will reject one and accept the other.
Yeah.
Then when they do that, what do we have? We have secularization on one extreme, we have fundamentalism on another extreme.
Mhm.
So, this is again something that is happening right
It
now.
is. It's a reality, Prof.
Yes,
Yes, it is.
and Americanism, in my opinion, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry to say that,
Mm-hmm.
sees things in binary opposites, Democrats and Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is like that, including religion.
Mm-hmm.
Very dichotomized way of looking at reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so scholars also then look at religion and spirituality. There's no center.
Mm-hmm.
So I prefer to be at the center,
Mm-hmm.
trying to make meaning out of these both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And it works for me.
Yeah.
Okay, let me say that. And I share that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I share that with younger people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I tend to think a lot of young people see that as non-threatening.
Yes.
It is heuristic. Heuristic means I'm also searching. Come, let's search together.
Mm-hmm.
But, I find meaning in these things. Would you also find meaning? Just look for it.
Mm-hmm.
Consider. It's not an either or options.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Let's exist in that both and space.
what and
Yeah.
there's a lot of fear around parents letting
Yeah.
go
Mm.
of children to think in that space.
Yeah.
The both and, you get people
Yeah.
say, I do not want dualism and and thin line. This is
Mm.
what the Bible says, and this is
Yeah.
what we go for. And I've seen a lot of that pushing a lot of
Yeah.
children away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, definitely the questions I had for this conversation, I'm just putting them on the side because this is a very interesting
Dr. Carol,
conversation.
let me share a personal experience
Yes,
again.
yes,
As a Catholic priest, I am not a parent myself,
yeah.
but I have my nieces and nephews, now grandnieces and nephews. Let me share an experience of one of my grandnephews.
Mhm.
His dad, who is my nephew, is a Catholic originally. Okay, his mother is a Hindu lady.
Okay.
So religion has been a very awkward topic in that family. And I've, as a Catholic priest, I've talked to the parents, what is your position? And then I found that it is not working. So I don't talk about religion when I visit them. And they have two kids. So this guy, now the grandnephew,
Mhm.
the other day he turned 8. But one day I was wearing this cross.
Mhm.
Okay. So he asked me, what is this? When I was visiting them. And I said, this is a cross, it's a Christian symbol. He said, yeah, yeah, I have seen that. But there are some images here. What are these? And then I tried to explain, there's Jesus. And then apparently his cousins have talked to him also about Jesus. Now, the other day, not long ago, he was given an assignment in school.
Mhm.
5 people who have influenced you. He had to write an essay,
Mhm.
grade 2 essay.
Mhm.
And he's
Mhm.
a very smart boy. And the mom took a shot of that and sent it to me because I get mentioned as a fifth person.
Oh,
Because,
wow.
I don't stay with him. I visit, let's say, 2, 3 times a year because they live in Dar es Salaam.
Mhm.
And it's easy. Whenever I go to Tanzania, I drop in there and take a meal, or sometimes I have slept there overnight as well at their home. So this guy likes me and I like his company. He's a very smart guy. And so what did I influence him with?
Oh, you're frozen. I don't know if it's on my end. Okay, I'll just wait for it to come back.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes, I can hear you. We left at what did you influence him with?
Exactly. Okay. So he has written, he says, Selvam is my grand uncle. Of course, he uses a mother tongue,
Mm.
and he is a priest,
Mm.
and he speaks science.
Oh my goodness.
But he taught me about Jesus.
Yeah,
And I didn't know that. He took that seriously from me.
yeah.
And then he adds, he's a smart man,
Mm.
but he takes God seriously. So 7-year-old
It's
guy writing
true.
all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Then I said, wow, he has understood me better than anyone else in this world.
Mm.
Uh, yes, I speak science, but I take God seriously.
Seriously.
Now, can that type of a parent
Mm.
influence a child
Yeah,
in a positive way?
yeah.
You know?
Mm.
Yeah. So it's homework for us
It is.
as adults and as parents.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very profound.
Mm.
Again, like you're saying, I mean, you were talking about the young people, the teenagers questioning, but this is a 7-year-old who already
Yeah.
grasps the importance of empirical, the importance of things making sense at 7. So
Mm.
we really, and you're saying there's homework for us as parents. We
Yeah.
really need to up our game
Mm.
because our religion, our God and who we believe in is important
Mm.
to us. I was watching a clip of a young 15-year-old boy who was talking about his experience in church. And he said that, of course, he grew up in church. And the reason
Mm.
he kept going, initially it was, the stories were fun, it was creative, there were a lot of activities. Then he loved church. But
Yeah.
now when he looks at his 15 years of life, he realizes that the only thing keeping him in church right now is the social aspect.
Yeah.
That's where he's grown up, that's where his
Mm.
friends are, but
Mm.
nobody really, quote unquote, sold him Christ.
Mm.
And now
Mm.
he's looking, he
Mm.
desires the connection, he desires
Yeah.
to have that
Mm.
relationship. He knows there's something there. But then on the flip side, he talks about the hypocrisy,
Yeah. Mm.
the hypocrisy that he sees and all that. And
Mm.
that's a 15-year
Mm.
old who had like a 4 to 5 minute video clip, very, very well articulated about his
Mm.
position.
Okay.
We can't continue using fear and control in
Yes.
this space with our children. So
Yeah.
as you're thinking about making sense of it, what can
Mm.
parents do then?
Mm.
What are some of the ways we can just be very intentional
Yeah.
about this conversation and about this discourse?
Mm. So I think as adults and as parents, we need to integrate.
Mm,
I mean, necessarily moving from religiosity to spirituality, but
mhm.
the integration of what spirituality is.
Yeah.
Meaning, yes, meaning, purpose, a sense of connectedness.
Yeah.
Now, connectedness, connection is with the transcendental being.
Mhm.
So, yes, I can go to church, I say prayers, let us say, I sing, but have I connected with something beyond? And then that connection puts me in connection with humanity
Mhm.
and the rest of creation. And that becomes compassion.
Okay.
So, if I go to church and I'm not compassionate, that seems a hypocrisy to a younger person.
True.
Yeah. And so that's basically the thing, in my opinion,
Mhm.
that it is about, let's say, the 3 or 4 C's of spirituality.
Mhm.
One is coherence in terms of significance, meaning, purpose. Second is connectedness. Third is compassion.
Mhm.
And the fourth is community, not as a static church, but community of pilgrims,
Mhm.
a community of people who are searching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, that sort of a model, in my opinion, can appeal to a contemporary young person, teens, the moment they start questioning, from to young adults.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what do you really believe in, and how are you living it out? And
Mm.
then again, I guess in the context of the 4 C's you have talked about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Coherence, connectedness, compassion,
And community.
and community
Yeah.
of believers, community of pilgrims, I would put it like that,
Mm.
because there is a certain process involved in that. It's not a static community. Yeah.
And there's
It's
openness and
because
there's
static
curiosity.
communities
Uh-huh.
become political and they become victims of social psychology,
Mm.
of in-group and out-group. You
Mhm.
know that language, we are saved, you are not saved,
Yeah. We are going to heaven, you're not going to heaven.
going to heaven.
You know.
But community of pilgrims is that we are all searching.
Mhm.
We are all on the journey.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that would be non-threatening.
Mhm.
That would be, to use a technical term, heuristic,
Mhm.
meaning it's flexible, we are searching. So we are making sense as we keep going. We are making the path as we walk.
Mhm. Which really speaks to the character strengths of curiosity and openness
Yeah.
to learning.
Yeah.
Open, is it love for learning? Yeah.
Yes.
So we can now transition into that. You also speak so much into character strengths. So how do they integrate with spirituality, and just bring it into this conversation?
See, most religions, formal institutionalized religions, have a moral implication of their faith. What in the New Testament calls faith and action.
Okay.
Even St. Paul, this morning actually, I was reflecting about the letter to the Romans, and St. Paul talks about we are saved by faith uh, and grace. Fair enough. But the same St. Paul, in the same letter to the Romans, from chapter 13 to 16, talks about the implication of that faith in terms of life, in love. So he is challenging us to go beyond the law, to faith, to love. You see, so even from that perspective, the Christian perspective, there is an implication to faith. So that is what we call virtue. And when we break down the virtues, what positive psychology calls character strengths. So character strengths are specific expressions of virtues. So if we take virtue like charity, then we can break it down to kindness, which is also compassion, and love. So positive psychology, for example, makes a distinction between kindness and love. Kindness is to everyone. Kindness is to that person on the road who is on the left lane, indicating to come to the right lane, and you're on the right lane, and you still have space to allow that person to come on the right lane. That now, if you allow so, that is kindness. It's not even kindness. It should be the norm, you know. Okay.
It's common courtesy.
Whereas, and it's so what happens when you lack that kindness is you start racing now on the right lane, preventing that guy to come on the right lane when
Yeah.
he is. So you see, we go to church, but it doesn't translate to very specific
Every day.
choices. And our children are seeing that.
They are watching.
Yeah. So we preach a gospel of money to our children and a gospel of success and not a gospel of meaning and kindness, you know. Yeah. So then what is love? Love is to people that we know. It is affection. It is in the realm of affection. It would go into intimacy and then even marriage. You cannot be kind to your spouse. You love your spouse, but you are kind to a stranger. So this is a specific example of character strengths, breaking down an overarching virtue of charity, you know, that many religions talk about. Yeah. So then let's take hope. Hope can be broken down to optimism, purpose, though hope itself is one of the character strengths among the 24 in the list of one of these very influential models of values in action model of positive psychology. Yeah. So those are character strengths. Now, how do parents pass on the character strengths in a family context? There are two, three things. In terms of parental influence, I think there is a weaning effect as children grow older. When they're young, parents have, or they have more access and time with the parents. Even though in urban setting, even the child care is more delegated nowadays. Sadly, in my opinion, but that's what we are in now. Capitalistic urban societies have made it like that. So then for example, simply when a child is an infant, the infant is so close to the mother. When they start crawling, their world becomes bigger. Then they start walking, they start running. Then they go to school. Most of the waking hours they are spending outside the family and all that. So there is that weaning effect of parental influence. That means parental influence is stronger at earlier stages of child's growth. That means the value system that the family, the parents want to pass on have to be done early enough. Now, how? The first model, the first way children learn is through imitation. First, whatever we learn, even eating, we learn by imitation. How I eat with my right hand in the traditional culture is through imitation. Okay. And a reminder that now use your right hand, you know. Now, so an adult has to model so that a child imitates across, even fine motor skills are through imitation, basically. So it's the same, in my opinion, about character. Character is built first and foremost in early stages of life through imitation. So that is where now we can go wrong as adults. We say something and we do something else. And then we say, oh, we are shocked. Oh, what happened to my child? Yeah. So that's for example, if we take the Nairobi society that we are now in and having this conversation in, Nairobi society, our choices are really prejudiced by and conditioned by how much money we make. That's a basic value. So our children see it and they hear it and they imitate. So what happens? Money becomes a value and other virtues are sidelined in real life. Even we might preach in the church context, in religious context, we are preaching about it. The schools have training programs, but that's not what they are seeing. Yeah. So for me, that's the first point. The second way of passing on our value systems is through stories and images, especially in early childhood. So, Bible story. Let's take a story, Bible story of the Good Samaritan, for example. Okay, since I'm a Christian now, let me use a Christian image. Now, that type of a story for a child, let's say even a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, even a 7-year-old, it is something that is between a symbol and a reality. For an adult, we know it's a story. Let's say a Good Samaritan helping a wounded person on the road. And it's a common story. I think even non-Christians would have heard that story. That a priest passed by, there was a wounded person on the road. A priest passed by, he didn't reach out. A Levite passed by, he didn't reach out. But a Samaritan passed by, he took care of this guy, he dressed his wounds, he took him on his donkey, took him to an inn. Okay, now for a child, it is something between a story and reality. And the child wants to be like that Samaritan. So this sort of stories, especially, unfortunately, that story does not say really what happened to that Samaritan at the end. Was he rewarded for his action? And if there is that reward conclusion to that story of a good person, then there is an indirect learning of that virtue of compassion that, wow, it is good. But of course, it is not about reward. Ultimately, it is about an intrinsic motivation that because I'm human, that it is good for me to be good. It is good for me to be compassionate, to practice the virtue of compassion, the character strength of kindness. So I can mention these two ways. One is through imitation, the other is stories. And then as they grow, we give reason to these virtues. Why is it? And that is where I think positive psychology has a lot of insights. That being a virtuous person is good for you, first of all. Because like random kindness, let's take something like random kindness. Research is showing that rather than the person who received the kindness, the one who gave out or did that act of kindness has better, enjoys well-being over a long time. Now, that appeals to an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, because this is an empirical data. So to be able to have such conversations. Secondly, it helps the community, the well-being of the community. Let's take forgiveness, for example, a topic that's talked about by preachers. But what is today psychology or scientific psychology saying it is good for me to forgive.
Mm.
And you and I know it from experience. When we carry hurt, we hurt ourselves.
Mm.
And lack of forgiveness, in my own research, predicts anxiety, stress.
Mm.
Then in my research, it has shown it predicts addictive behavior.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh, and then, but forgiveness improves well-being for me.
Mhm.
And then forgiveness becomes necessary for our community living as human beings. So that type of a reasoning according to the age. So I have mentioned three things:
Mm.
imitation,
Mhm.
how children learn. So which means as adults modeling,
Mm.
uh, stories. So children's books,
Mm.
do they bring out values? They are their character strengths coming out.
Mm.
The cartoons that they're watching, animation clips that they're watching,
Mm.
are they having these character strengths? So what type of games are they playing on the PlayStation?
Mm.
So definitely, if there are violent games that they're playing,
That are
then
competitive, and
where
it's all
what
about
character is
winning.
developing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, winning.
Mm.
So competitive, and then crime stuff.
Mm.
So we need to watch out.
Mm.
On the other hand, more and more games are being created. The play is being created around character as well. So how do we explore these?
Yeah.
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 Then, as they grow up, are we able to reason out with them
Mm.
to
Mm.
provide something that seems scientific as well? Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
So I suppose this is how we build character.
Mm. Yeah.
And then, in Kenya, we have seen this Gen Z's uprising now. It is also catching up in other countries. Madagascar seems to be now in the limelight.
Mm.
I think, what are they rebelling against? They're rebelling against that pharisaic, that hypocrisy in the adult society. You know, yes, even hypocrisy among leaders.
Right.
Yeah, there are national values that all of us want to embrace, but the leaders are being selfish. And that's what they are voicing
Mm.
for, or voicing against.
Mm.
Uh, I want to do that same, but I don't have the courage to go on the street. But
I hear
people
you.
in the
I hear you, Prof. Yes.
people in their 20s and early 30s are able to do that.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And in this summit, I've put together quite a number of Gen Z voices, very, very authentic, very clear about what it is they want, and just to help us also bust those myths, because
Mhm.
there's a sense we can really dismiss them because of how strongly they are coming. But again, in this summit, we are really shedding light about what's really in the heart of a Gen Z, whether it's in mental health, whether it's in the social justice space.
Yeah.
I think there is room for sitting down and reasoning. There's room for that character strength of curiosity and love for learning, because that's the
Yeah.
only way we will be able to come to a place of understanding. It will bring, compassion again. But I really like what you're saying, especially the third point. Okay, of course, imitation is great throughout. When they are young, when they are old, that's amazing.
Mhm.
Storytelling will be really good at the younger stage.
Yeah.
But I mean, you and I know, even in the mental health space, there's a lot of storytelling for mental health. So I
Mhm.
think, again, it's just seeing how it can connect even to the older,
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
teenagers and the older generation. But I think
Mhm.
for me, the third point is the one that really stands out for me. Just being
Yeah.
able to share knowledge, to share
Mhm.
facts. And
Yeah.
this cuts across different spaces. When I talk to parents about technology and managing
Yeah.
technology with children, I tell them we spend so much time doing the scare tactics. This is bad for
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
but we don't do the
Mm.
share tactics, where we are
Mm.
sharing data, where we're actually telling them this is what is happening to your mental health. But this is also
Mm.
what is good about technology and
Mm.
all that.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a need for a shift of
Mm.
mindset, and you've shed so much light in that space. I want to end this session, but I just really want us to circle back to what you
Yeah.
said at the start when you were talking about your journey
Yeah.
and the connection between the techniques you are using with the young people and
Mm.
how it I think brought down levels of addiction. Could you just, as we
Yeah.
close, just help parents understand how important that part is?
Okay. In my own daily meditation,
Mm.
okay, like today, I didn't have the time to do it. I sort of had to sleep a little bit extra today.
Mm.
But one thing that I do is like 30 minutes of meditation in the morning.
Mm.
After when I come out of my room, I go to the chapel, as we call. It's a communitarian exercise, but I have my own method that I follow. And that's what I have been using for now years. And personally, I can say, you can also perceive that in my voice, that I come from a very violent background. It's not that I have had childhood violence, but my society is very violent. My community in India, we call caste system, the ethnic community. I come from the seashore, so it's noisy, the waves, the strong waves of the sea. And now that I'm out of the sea, I am able to process that. And as a child, I used to be very physically violent. I'm not talking about that childhood anger tantrums, but even in high school, And but what I found is at the even if there is a sea within me, the meditation technique that I follow makes me realize, wow, where is it coming from? Where is this behavior coming from? Yeah, it creates a lot of self-awareness and to be able to apologize, to be able to, to be respectful of people's emotions. And now, what is this technique? It's more used in the Orthodox tradition of Christianity, especially the Greek and the Russian churches. Somehow it has been lost in the Roman Catholic Church since the 11th century. And now the other Reformed churches since the 16th century, and the contemporary, now the Pentecostal and the evangelical churches may not even hear about it. So this is called Jesus prayer. When the early Christians went to the deserts of Egypt, what did they do the whole day? Who wanted to live Christian life more radically? So they kept repeating sentences from the Bible. And one of the persistent sentences is, Jesus, Son of the living God, have mercy on me, a sinner. And there are books around that, Jesus Prayer. And there is a famous Russian book in English, of course, The Way of the Pilgrim. And so I'm inspired by that type of a tradition. And just to tell you one sample of the Christian meditation. Yeah.
Okay.
And interestingly, there is a lot of literature on combining with body posture, breathing, and the sentence, and also the use of prayer bead. In the early church, in the early Christianity, right from the third, fourth centuries. So when people hear, when Christians hear breathing, they say this is yoga.
Yeah, they say it's new age.
Yeah, new age stuff.
Yeah.
But we do not know our own history as Christians, in my perspective. And there is a whole literature called Philokalia about what this tradition called Hesychism. In Greek Christianity, even Egypt and Greek church. So that is what I practice, but there are also other techniques. I run a quiet day once a month where we teach this, and people across Christian traditions come, and we teach different methods of meditation. And I tend to think, as research has it, that mindfulness practice can improve what I call a three-dimensional spirituality: an inward journey towards the self, and an upward journey towards God, and an outward journey towards humanity and the rest of creation. And to do that, we don't need to go to Eastern religions. Yes, if you are a follower of Eastern religion, and every religion, even in the Islam, there is what they call Sufism, more Persian traditions. There is meditation techniques in Islam under the Sufist tradition. In Judaism, there is Hasidism, meditation techniques. And interestingly, in all these, even mainline churches and religions, institutional religions, people who go into mindfulness practice or meditation, they tend to reach a common ground about spirituality. Yeah. So that seemed to be the solution to me of keeping young people within even your structured religion, while they're seeking meaning and a real experience of the transcendental being. So what psychology calls mindfulness is what religion calls meditation and contemplation. Yeah.
And you
So
say
to me, that is again a technique to grow in virtue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that through those practices, when you were working with young people, you saw lower levels of addiction.
Exactly.
I think that's something that could be very attractive to parents as something
Yes.
to emulate or to support young people, because we are dealing with high levels of addiction, whether it's on social media and, they're externalizing these addictions in ways that are very destructive.
Yeah.
So final words, Prof. This has been a very, very wisdom-filled session, but what are these final words just to parents, to families out there when it comes to thriving from the perspective of spirituality and character strength?
Okay, let me say this. When your young teen, 13-year-old, 14-year-old, asks that first question, why do we go to church? Let us not be threatened by that question. Let's have the courage to share our own faith in a very non-threatening way. Then that becomes, spirituality, because you will make meaning out of it when you are sharing that in your own internalized, personalized way. Then invite them to move to meaning seeking, to be compassionate, to grow in virtue. Then I think we can preserve the core of our own religious faith. And in so doing, we are living our own spirituality. And we are inviting our younger children to that spiritual space and a space where they can also practice virtue. And then they will thrive. Yes. Because
at the end, ultimately, yes.
Yes. Because as individuals, they are going to be flourishing. And then our families can thrive.
Thank you so much. You speak with such clarity, with such simplicity, and I'm sure parents have really gained a lot, and the families that are watching this have gained a lot. And for those who would like to reach out to Prof, his contacts and everything will be part of the resources of this summit. Thank you so much for your wisdom and for saying yes to this call.
Don't shy off if I don't pick up calls, but I'm good with emails. Okay.
Yes.
Because I live in that contemplative space.
So you will share where else to be found, even if it's not directly a call, right?
Okay. You can share my email.
I will do that.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
Asante. Thank you. Thank you, Carol.